Today on Call Out, Kent Harrison uses sonar to search for a missing person.
When they went to see him this morning, he disappeared.
And later, military pilots train on the Cormorant helicopter.
It's probably the coolest thing we've got in the forces.
Sunday, 12:20 p.m. Kent Harrison's search and rescue are on scene at the Harrison River to look for a missing person.
Last seen at midnight last night.
The subject is a male in his late 20s who was camping by himself on a gravel spit.
Some relatives of his dropped him off there, and when they went to see him this morning, he disappeared.
The subject might have left on foot, but the team is quick to rule this out.
I'm going to go far. This is really ugly bush in here. There's no...
Other people were camping at the north end of the spit. They both had, they had two dogs, and they really felt that if somebody had passed by them in the night, bearing in mind that the spit is quite narrow, that the dogs would have alerted them to somebody in the area.
And they're absolutely positive that nobody came past them in the night.
The subject's boots were found at the campsite, further suggesting that he hadn't attempted to hike out.
All his stuff was still there, his cell phone, personal gear, shoes, everything. Nothing moved.
The fact that all his gear was still there, it really led us to think that the subject had gone into the water.
Unfortunately, both sides of the gravel bar are equally dangerous. On the eastern side stretches a 2 to 3 meter deep reed-infested floodplain that looks deceptively shallow. On the western side flows the main channel of the Harrison River, which conceals a strong current under its calm surface.
If he had fallen in on the west side of the spit, the current would have taken him quite a ways down the river.
Hoping to locate some clues or evidence, 2 members are sent on jet skis to search the flooded area. Other crews are deployed on a jet boat to cover the length of Harrison River between the point last seen and the river's confluence with the Fraser.
The water was not clear at this time. It was full of glacial silt. So what would normally be clear water was actually quite murky and difficult to see into.
So murky, in fact, that after an extensive search, nothing was detected. Search manager Neil Brewer decides to suspend the search until they can bring in proper tools for the job. 3 days later, the SAR team returns to Harrison River to pick up where they had left off.
So today we are assisting the RCMP dive team, and hopefully we'll have a positive outcome.
The team's 27-foot jet boat, the Spirit of Harrison, takes the crew as well as 2 members from the RCMP dive team to the flooded area east of the spit. They hope that today will bring some kind of closure to the family of the missing subject.
The team had received some emails during the week from a family member asking why the search had been suspended and pleading with us to keep searching because he's sure that his relative would be found. I found that very difficult, but I assured him that we were doing all that we could.
The team members who volunteer for search and rescue are everyday people who truly care and empathize with subjects and their relatives.
I think most people don't really know what goes into search and rescue and who the people are that do it. And we have the lady that works at the video store, we have general handymen and people who work in the finance, lady that works at the bank, you know, they're people from the community. Even though we knew there was a high likelihood he would turn up in a few days, we still went out there and did whatever we could to search for him.
For today's task, the RCMP has brought along their side-scan sonar.
The RCMP's sonar is a vertically oriented sonar that is suspended on a tripod. So that works by dropping the tripod into the water, and it then does a sweep of 360 degrees, and it's very accurate.
The sonar sends focused sound waves to the bottom of the river, which are then reflected back and displayed as an image on the connected monitor. The crew sweeps the riverbed in 85-meter increments with sufficient overlap to ensure a complete and accurate scan.
Let's go, so our stern is just at the back end of this weed patch.
We've been at it about an hour now. Slow going. The whole area was covered with these underwater reeds that really hampered the ability of the sonar to scan a wide area. So it was a long process to try and cover the whole area.
As the morning comes to a close, the crew reconvenes with the search managers to come up with a plan for the afternoon. Kent Harrison's Search and Rescue decides to use its own side-scan sonar in the main channel of the Harrison River. The SAR team's sonar applies the same technology as the RCMP's unit, with the added bonus that it can be towed behind a moving vessel.
It's able to scan a wide area while moving, so we're able to cover a large area in a shorter amount of time.
A crew of 3 scans the floor of the Harrison River, while 2 other members search the shorelines on jet skis. They thoroughly cover the area from the point last seen to 4 kilometers down the Fraser River, but find nothing. At 4 p.m., the search is again suspended. Friday, 5:35 p.m. 5 days after the initial call-out, the team is paged by the RCMP and muster at SAR base.
Where we were the other day, and to do a code 4.
Some fishermen had spotted what they thought was a body floating in the water near the end of the spit.
Because of the reeds, the body had been submerged and undetectable until now. As the team prepares to leave, a truck rolls up. It's a relative of the subject.
We're going across the bridge.
We told them, well, just follow us and the RCMP will be there and you can talk to them about the situation.
We try as much as possible to keep them informed and involved, but at the same time, we have to focus on the incident, and we rely very much on the RCMP and their resources to cater for the family members and relatives on scene.
At Harrison River, 2 SAR members on jet skis head to the gravel bar to secure the site. 4 other members take the coroner and 2 RCMP officers aboard their 20-foot rescue vessel, the Shearwater. The RCMP stand by as Kent Harrison's SAR members recover the body. Back at the dock, it's a somber moment for everybody as the body is identified by the relative.
I'm Neil.
Thank you for everything you've done.
Sorry it's worked out this way.
Although it was a fairly disastrous ending for this individual, there was closure for the family, and there is not always closure.
Thursday, 5 p.m. Canadian Forces Search and Rescue was called out to a sinking vessel off the coast of York Island, north of Prince Rupert at the mouth of Hecate Strait. Military search and rescue teams have to be ready to go anywhere, anytime, and in the poorest of weather conditions. That's what makes the CH-149 Cormorant an excellent aircraft for the job. It's powerful, fast, and for good reason, dedicated solely to search and rescue in the Canadian Forces. At 442 Squadron in Comox, British Columbia, 3 candidates are striving to make the grade as Cormorant pilots. Learning to fly this helicopter is an opportunity of a lifetime.
I've worked really hard to get to this point, and it's what I've wanted right from the get-go, so this is kind of nice. I finally got to where I want to be, so I'm going to relax and enjoy this for a little while and try and be the best search and rescue pilot I can be.
These guys I'm flying with all have 2,000 hours on the Cormorant and a lot more on other aircraft, and I have 150 hours, so I got a lot to learn.
Right now, my goals are to pass this course, first and foremost, get to a squadron and feel like I'm contributing.
At 74 feet long and weighing in at over 32,000 pounds, the Cormorant is a beast of a helicopter.
It's way bigger than anything I've ever flown before. Like if you compare it to my last aircraft, which was the 412, it's 3 times bigger just in not only space, but weight and capability.
With 3 turboshaft engines, advanced avionics, and a powerful radar system, the Cormorant blows its predecessors out of the water. Fully loaded, it can clock 278 kilometers per hour. The Cormorant's unique blade system is ideal for tight spaces. It can maneuver into a small, confined airspace with lots of power to pull back out.
Steady left, 1. Right's touching, left right's touching. Nose is just above the ground. Inches.
The CH-149 is fully equipped. On board is the full array of gear required for SAR technicians to perform rescues on land, in the water, and underwater. There are 2 hoists for raising and lowering SAR techs and survivors, an ice protection system that includes heated rotor blades, a helicopter flotation device in case the crew has to ditch the aircraft, and the ability to fly over 1,000 kilometers without refueling. This machine is built tough. From steep mountain ranges to hundreds of kilometers out at sea, the Cormorant can fly search and rescue crews anywhere in the country in the worst wind, rain, and snowfall.
I might be a little bit biased, but it's probably the coolest thing we've got in the forces.
So setting up on a modified downwind and turning final.
The candidates already know how to fly other aircraft. Now they must learn to fly the Cormorant. It's a 3-month course led by highly experienced instructors who know just what it takes to be a Cormorant pilot.
What's the FRC response?
We equate it to drinking out of a fire hose the first little bit of the course because it is a big helicopter and it's got a lot of systems that they're not used to.
A Cormorant pilot's job can be daunting and very dangerous. The lives of the crew and the subjects are always at stake. There's very little room for error, and the candidates are trained accordingly.
You want to be prepared for every day. There's no days off, there's no slack days, there's no downtime built into the course at all. It's go, go, go for that 3 months.
Major Weisenborn speaks from experience. She was the first Canadian search and rescue pilot to fly an actual mission with the Cormorant.
It was a medevac off a cruise ship. The lady had a heart attack, I believe. That's my one little bit of claim to fame.
Yeah, you're lucky today since we're not flying. We're going to go through a briefing.
Cormorant candidates come to train at 442 Squadron in the hope of joining Canada's search and rescue forces. And the instructors do their best to make it happen.
Any questions before we start? No?
We'll give them every chance that we can give them to get them through the course. But if even after that, we'll terminate their course and we'll send them back to their home units. Some pilots never get comfortable doing the job.
Typically, a Cormorant crew has 2 pilots, an aircraft commander and a first officer, as well as a flight engineer and 2 search and rescue technicians, or SAR techs.
Up front, we have the 2 pilots. One of them's primary goal is to fly the aircraft and maintaining a stable platform for the guys in the back. The second pilot is monitoring all the systems, keeping an eye on what's going on in the back, so everyone is in the loop and working on the same page.
The flight engineer, or FE, is the eyes and ears of the Cormorant. When they are on scene for a rescue, it's his job to guide the pilots to where they need to go and to ensure the safety of the SAR techs.
They can't see what's happening on the ground, so I have to tell them. I have to tell them when to move, how to move. I'll call obstacles. There's a 3 at 3 o'clock at 15 feet.
The flight engineer is also the mechanic should anything go wrong. Like the rest of the team, the flight engineer must be on his game at all times, as he cons or controls the aircraft and its crew.
There's a lot going on. To be able to make a quick decision, adapt to change right away, it's a hard job. It is. It's a challenging job.
The SAR techs are the medics. Their job is to access the subjects by hoist, parachute, or scuba gear, provide medical care, and get them to safety. It's a team effort involving the entire crew.
It is very important that from the get-go they incorporate all of the different members of a flight crew into each other's training, just so that you can learn to predict and what to expect out of each position within the airframe.
A month into the course now, the students are training on a simulator known as the Cockpit Procedures Trainer, and about to begin exercises on the Cormorant, first learning to perfect a hover. After that, it's hoisting, over land, then over a moving boat. All of this initially during the day, then in the dark using night vision goggles. Later, the pilots will go to Britain to train on a full-motion flight simulator, learning to deal with severe flight emergencies. Candidates who make the grade on this course will get a seat as first officers right next to the aircraft commander. For further training, of course.
5, it's reading 0, temperatures are good.
Wednesday, 3 p.m. Cormorant helicopter pilot candidate Captain Jay Hall is on his second hour in the simulator, running through a pre-flight checklist and system tests.
Warning.
Here, the students are trained on the helicopter's instrumentation and startup procedures, and ultimately on how to fly and operate the Cormorant on a rescue mission.
Wheels.
For such a large and complex helicopter, the cockpit design is quite simple. Both the pilot and co-pilot have identical controls and instruments, allowing the aircraft to be flown from either position. The Cormorant has what is known as a dark cockpit. Control panel switches will only light up if the aircraft is in distress. This allows the pilots to focus on the horizon or on the mission at hand and react to specific alerts as they develop. Beyond controls and displays, the simulator enables students to practice responding to a variety of flight emergencies. Here, mistakes can be made and lessons learned with no harm done.
I give them the same things that I've seen, from the very small, insignificant problems such as a button isn't reacting properly, right up to an engine failure or a simulated engine fire where they'll have to take the helicopter and land it as soon as possible.
Along with being a safe way to train, the simulator is also very cost-effective. An hour of actual flying time on the Cormorant clocks in at over $18,000. And at about $39 million per helicopter, you don't put it at risk doing system and malfunction exercises.
It's really an invaluable tool. And you'll find that when pilots are doing that, they'll get very engaged and it becomes real to them.
Caution.
Got an over torque.
But while the Cockpit Procedures Trainer is good for learning the controls, there's no substitute for actual in-flight training or working with a crew. Everyone looks forward to flying and being involved in search and rescue. It's their passion. And with a full roster of simulator training now behind them, the pilot candidates gear up for a live exercise. The goal of today's training mission? Maintain the Cormorant in a stable hover position. This may sound like Rescue 101, but a stable hover is a critical component in the rescue process. It's the basis for most missions, hoisting in particular.
That's 90% what we're doing here, right? So that's what a search and rescue pilot needs, is a really steady hover.
The sheer size and weight of the Cormorant makes hover operations tricky. When fully loaded, the CH-149 can weigh over 32,000 pounds. Keeping this aircraft steady in heavy winds, rains, or snowfalls is quite a challenge. Students must be able to perform this task flawlessly before they can move on to the hoisting phase. During these exercises, the instructor has one simple objective, first and foremost.
My role is to make sure the student doesn't kill anybody. It seems a little bit extreme, but they're already pilots. They should know how to fly the helicopter. They should know how to hover the helicopter. We're teaching them how to hover and fly this helicopter.
All training missions are followed with feedback from the instructors.
We'll sit down in the briefing room. We'll really talk about how the flight went, what went good, what went bad, and then provide them written feedback as well.
Go over top of your area, take out.
Students learn from their mistakes, practice in the simulator, and do more training flights over and over. Practice makes a perfect hover.
If you gotta slow down an extra soon like that, that's fine. We don't want to be crawling in from the half mile back.
Students will have good days, they'll have bad days. The trip previous to the one yesterday, the student had unfortunately a bad day where he just couldn't seem to get his hands and his feet and his brain all working together. We talked about it afterwards in a debrief, and we figured out what we were going to do to fix it. And he came out yesterday, and it was a fantastic trip. I was running out of things to give him just because he was doing so well.
Call Out Search and Rescue features real stories filmed live by search and rescue teams during actual missions. Find out more at calloutstar.tv.